Good evening, it's April Davis PI. It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2026, and I am here to give you some follow-up information on Jackie. Yes, Queen Jackie, our Big Bear Valley bald eagle. I wanted to tell you some stuff that the Ojai Raptor Center put out today. I'm not going to read it all. If you want to see everything, just go to their website and look up under Jackie, patient 26519, and you'll see everything they had to say. Why do answers take time? A necropsy allows veterinary pathologists to investigate disease at a much deeper level than is possible in a living animal. Entire organs and tissues can be examined and samples can be studied under a microscope or submitted for specialized laboratory testing. Some of the tests can take days or even weeks to complete, and sometimes one finding leads to additional testing. The results will then be considered alongside patient 26519's medical history, blood work, imaging, and other diagnostics to help build the most complete picture possible. We want to give the specialists involved the time needed to complete this important work before conclusions are shared. Yeah, I agree. It's very important, not just for whatever happened to Jackie, but, this could help other eagles and other raptors in the habitat. Even other animals that are non-raptors. I think it's very important to know what happened that's specific to that area. Now, they also state on their website, what caused her illness? ? Despite significant efforts from specialists to administer care, medical treatment, and extensive testing, veterinarians did not identify one definitive cause for her poor condition, and Jackie's health continued to decline. Yes, sadly. Findings included severe regenerative anemia, in other words, low red blood cell count. Okay, like, can I speak? Thrombosis, blood clots in both her wing and one kidney, liver abnormalities, lung abnormalities, and inadequate bone marrow response. Now, I think this was the key. I talked about it in one of my prior videos. I'm not a doctor, but I am a cancer survivor, and I was starting to think, I think they should do the bone marrow test, and they did. I think they did it around the time they did the second CT scan, the one they did with the contrast dye. After 23 days in treatment, she was no longer able to keep food down and experienced a significant decline in packed cell volume, PCVs. She passed away naturally. That's the key word here. She passed away naturally in the evening hours of August 9th. Now, that's a surprise because this organization, the Ojai Raptor Center, originally reported that it was August the 10th in the early morning hours. Then it was later reported by another agency that it was August 9th. And they have now put on their website that it was August 9th. In one of my prior videos, I had, Jackie 2014 through August 10th, 2026. But let's update that, everybody. It was August 9th. Now, something wonderful did happen, though, on the 10th. In spite of this very sad tragedy, August 10th was the day that little KD1 decided that she was going to go sit her behind in Jackie's nest and check it out. And that may play an important role in the future. We will have to see what happens with that. Now, there's also a question here about, could we show her pictures or play sounds of Shadow and the eaglets? And that's a very good question. A lot of people brought that up. When wildlife is in rehabilitation, we try to limit sensory input to reduce stress. Quiet, dark spaces are the most beneficial environments for raptors as they allow them to rest and recuperate. To the second question, there has been evidence of behavioral changes in raptors in captivity who have had mate loss, and we do believe that pairs in the wild would register that their mate is not present. We can't speak to the emotion of missing their mate, as the behavioral science is just not there like it is with pets or people. Yeah, I think she was totally aware that, she wasn't with Shadow and her babies, and that had to be extraordinarily stressful. But I understand that they wanted to keep her calm. And, you can't just go out into the wild and, pick up a wild bald eagle and catch him and, put him through stress to go to the Raptor Center or take recordings of him. I think that's ridiculous. But I understand why people were asking that. So yeah, we've gone over what caused her illness. They don't know. We've gone over why they couldn't play sounds of shadow and the eaglets. Some people were even saying to play videos, wow. Now, we talked about this a little bit, but there's some additional information. This is not the exact same paragraph. This was under the fact section of their website. It says, how long does a necropsy take? What is it? And why can't it take time to get answers? And we answered some of this earlier, but this is like a little separate answer that I found on their page. It says, a necropsy, the animal equivalent of an autopsy, allows veterinary pathologists to investigate disease at a much deeper level than is possible in a living animal. They can examine entire organs and collect samples from many different tissues for microscopic examination and specialized testing. These tests may look for infections, toxins, heavy metals, or changes within individual tissues and cells. Some can take days or even weeks to complete, and one finding may lead to additional testing. Once results are available, pathologists compare them with patient 26519's medical history, blood work, imaging, and other diagnostic findings to build the most complete picture possible. We know many people are eager for answers. We are too. But careful investigation takes time, and we want to allow the specialists involved to complete their work before conclusions are shared. Yeah, that's basically what was in the opening statement with some other information, squeezed into the middle of this paragraph. But yeah, I understand why they couldn't, catch Shadow and bring him to the Ojai Raptor Center or show her videos or sounds, because she was already so stressed. You got to realize Jackie was sick for a very, very long time. I suspected something as early as the first clutch. Remember the first clutch in 2026 that didn't make it? And she flew away from the eggs, and the ravens came down and took them. And it took them time. They didn't immediately just go eat them. They were looking for her. They were giving her every chance to come back, and she'd already abandoned those eggs. But there were just little signs when she was sitting on those first set of eggs in the first clutch, to me, that something was wrong. And yeah, for all the people that are writing me nasty messages saying, hey, I got something against FOBBV, I do not. I have supported them for years. I have sent donations. I have bought things from their gift shop. I did mention that some people, not myself, but some people over the years had some issues in their chats. I don't know if those issues exist anymore. I don't get into their chats. I've never had a problem. I fully support them. I support their volunteers. I support their moderators. I support Sandy Steers and everything that she did. Without Sandy Steers, we would have never had these Eagle cams, Cam 1 and Cam 2 up at Big Bear. We would have never had, I don't think they would have done the fundraiser to raise the $10 million for Moon Camp to save most of that eagle habitat from construction, which would have, pushed the animals out of their homes. I totally support FOBBV. I even had people that came into one of my lives and said, hey, April Davis, people are talking about you on the Big Bear live cam. And I'm like, what cam? You mean the FOBBV cam? And they're like, no, there's a webcam up at Big Bear Lake it's like a live 24-hour cam, and everybody was talking about you last night, and that's how I found you, and that's why I came in to support you. And then I went to it, but it was one of those cams that goes like 24 hours a day, and on those cameras you can only go so many hours back, and then it just keeps recording over. They couldn't possibly keep, every image, every conversation. And when it's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But, I didn't even know about the Big Bear camp. And I love Big Bear. I've worked up there before. I would even love to live up there someday if it was, possible for somebody like me, if it could be realistic that, somebody that has all these medical situations, could I actually live up there? If I could, come over here and help me pack. I'll give you my home address. Everybody can help me make the move to Big Bear if that could really be even possible in my lifetime. I adore Big Bear. I had outdoor the town, the businesses up there that I have, been a patron of when I've worked up there. It's an awesome place. But, to me, one of the biggest heroes ever, and it's some person I've never even met, is Sandy Steers. And I know that Jackie, she's not alone. She's up there with some of her, deceased children or little chicks, or some of her chicks who became eaglets and flew the coop, but they didn't make it because some of her early hatchlings were actually banded, and they've since found them, passed away. She did have a total of 10 between Mr. B and Shadow, and not all of them have survived. But she's in heaven now, Jackie. I totally believe that she's in a better place, and she's not sick anymore. And Sandy Steers, she just has the biggest smile on her face in heaven. Now, for the rest of us that are with the living, let's pray for Shadow, and maybe he will warm up to this little cutie pie, little Miss Katie one. I can't wait to see what happens with them. Whoever he, pairs up with, I look forward to more little eaglets or little baby chicks in the future. Everybody, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who watches my videos. Until next time, good night.